Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Claudio Flavius. I am the technical assistant of the PCJ Consortium. I'll be your master of ceremonies. Before we get started at the UN conference event, we'd like to let you know that we have simultaneous translation available. If you need to use or prefer to use this tool, you can access in the bottom of the Zoom screen, selecting the desired channel in order to monitor or follow, accompany us in your language of choice. I'll speak about this in English so that our international speakers are aware of this translation tool. Having already mentioned this, and everyone already with their translation channels set, we'll start our side event, which is government and private sectors in achieving the goals of the 2030 agenda, which is where the international actors, we will be sharing experiences and sharing information on universal access to water, also respecting indigenous peoples and peripheral regions, together with the collaborative participation of government, civil society, private partners. We will be discussing commitments so that we can reach the goals and of the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. I'd like to thank our audience, our speakers, and members of the international and national press who are also monitoring our event. We'd also like to thank the partners of the PCJ Consortium and its partners, such as the governance organ, the Water Agency, the Water Basin Organism Network in Brazil, the U.S. Water Basin Agency, the UN Agency, the Environmental Secretary of the State, Rio de Janeiro State, the State Institute for the Environment in Rio de Janeiro, INEA, the International Leaders, Sapucaí Commission, SOS Mata Atlântica, Brazil's federal prosecutors, the Water Connection, Our Valley, Our Life, and the USCN. We also like to inform to those who are here that they please let their partners who were not able to be here on Tuesday, or those who may not be here today, let them know that we will have all of this material with the access links of the document. Everything will be available in the G Consortium YouTube channel, as well as in the PCJ Consortium website. All of this information at the website is available, and updates on the debates and news that will be occurring in the UN conference. For the welcoming comments, I'd like to invite the president of the PCJ Consortium, Mr. Mario Botion. Welcome, Mr. Botion. Flavia, I'd like to congratulate, and I'd like to welcome all who are here and who represent and the institutions represented by them as well. To all of you, good morning to the side event participants. We, as the PCJ Consortium, on behalf of the consortium, we're doing this event together with friends and partners, have have been already mentioned. The cooperation is the key word of the day. It is shown by the number of partners who are here at the site event. Also, the participation of the indigenous peoples. Dona Neuza is here on their behalf. She is also the president of the Tapucayo Commission. I hope I mentioned your name correctly or the welcoming comment correctly. We do understand that these extreme weather events bring us a number of concerns and an ever-increasing need of having growing cooperation among the different actors. The consortium has 33 years, and for this period, it has been doing this contribution, providing this help in an objective and clear manner. And here at the conference, we observe the participants here at the conference. The speeches given at the conference have shown that the focus should be the participation and universality of the responsibility towards water management, both private sector, civil societies, and mainly the governments should be involved. Yesterday, at the opening of the UN conference on the water management, we noted that the main theme is about this thing, the cooperation among actors, especially in terms of cooperation, especially financing of the initiatives that are necessary that we can advance and improve the protection and the quality of the water worldwide. I understand that water is the only thing that really joins, can also separate peoples because its importance is the same everywhere. Each region in this country, in the world, has different characteristics, but water is a unanimous need. So it's necessary that the governments, the civil societies, private companies, that they cooperate better and in developing initiatives that are necessary that will bring water security to all of us. This is our legacy, and in the environment and the waters. So I'd like to summarize this introduction this way, and I'd like to mention World Water Day, which was yesterday. It has a hummingbird as its main as its main hallmark. That the hummingbird, little by little, has extinguished water fires in the forest. The consortium has this role. It's advanced initiatives towards preserving both the quality and the quantity of the water. Each one of the organizations that are present at this side of it right now, I'm sure that they all share these goals of improving the preservation of the quality and mainly of the quantity of our waters. So welcome all, and let's hope we have a wonderful event and that the results are effectively shown. The commitment, the compliance with the commitment, the monitoring is also necessary in short order so that we can monitor the implementation of the initiatives, the commitments made by the entities, by the actors, both from civil society as well as from the private sector and governments. That's how we should proceed. A good day to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Buchon, for your opening remarks. The PCJ Consortium, in its role, is always in search and holding to account everyone's commitments, both in the water and environment, regarding the water environment. Mr. Buchon is on location at the UN conference. Now I'd like to have the Water Observance Secretary Executive, Mr. Andrew. He will also, Angelo Lima will also be having some opening remarks. Good morning to all of you. Adding to comments of, also adding to what was mentioned, and also wanting to thank the President And also, congratulate and welcome Renata Maranhão. It's interesting to have women being a part of the management of water resources. From Cáceres, from the Pantanal in Mato Grosso, which is where the Uruguay River is full at the moment. Waters are high, but it shows a concern that the governance Water Governance Observatory has shown that 63 entities, members of the observatory and researchers who are involved in water research in Brazil. Been building this, and we want to show the instance, the monitor, the governance. I mentioned here another webinar at the event on the importance of governance and also the support of the federal government demonstrate that water is crucial and also aware of the importance of water integration with the environmental protection. And it must signal to the state governments, the municipal governments, that we as monitors of this governance of the management of these water resources, we've seen many state governments changing their infrastructure, the governance infrastructures. Today, we have 243 committees, water committees, Brazil-wide, to monitor this. So it's important to strengthen the system, provide adequate responses to this demands, where we must increasingly look and have an integrated viewpoint of water resource management. In light of the climate changes, in light of also economic development, water is a strategic resource for development. We have a number of examples of the water crisis that we've suffered, of how absence of water crisis has affected the economy. So we must also look at the biodiversity as well, the ecosystem, the water ecosystem. We will have many challenges ahead of us. It's good to hear 50 years after the UN conference on water. So congratulations. Let's welcome everyone. Again, thank you for all of you being here with us. So the observatory is available to discuss the importance of governance, to collaborate in water management, debate these issues both regarding the federal government, the importance of water, and the importance of the state governments in managing this. Thank you all. Thank you, Angelo Lima, who is Executive Secretary of the OGA, for wonderful comments, for his wonderful comments on this importance of the various different sectors. And also the importance of the indicators of access, the indicators that shows the access to water for all of us. Continuing with the welcome comments, I'd like to yield the word to João Paulo Capobianco, who is the Executive Secretary of the Ministry of the Environment and the Climate Change. Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's wonderful to be here at this Zoom session organized by the PCJ Consortium. To have in the person of Francisco Lahoz and Angelo Lima as well, the president of the consortium, also Mr. Bution. To congratulate all of you that are dealing with a subject which is such a central issue in Brazil. João Paulo, could you speak a bit closer to the microphone because it's becoming difficult to hear? Thank you. We've been trying to resolve this issue since early. I'm almost inside the television. It's improved somewhat, yes. Yes, please speak closer. It is better, thank you. You've heard, however, everything, yes. I do believe this side event is extremely important because it addresses the essential issue of the water management, of sanitation, all of the initiatives that are necessary for the responsible use, sustainable use of water in Brazil. And it's good to have the cooperation, Brazil, of all of you here. The Brazilian legislation since '97 has tended toward this direction, having the basin committees, state committees, the national committee, the shared management model. This is part of the legislation by now. It's imbued in the legislation. And I do see the PCJ consortium and the observatory, just to cite two of the institutions that have organized this site event, but there are many others who are here as well. I'd like to acknowledge this effort to make sure that we comply with the spirit of the Brazilian legislation. PCJ consortium, with so many of it, with existing since 1989. This is a 33-year mobilization, decades long, and it's a very important reference benchmark whenever we discuss issue of water issues, of basin sharing, the local government sharing, the participation in local governments. The PCJ is always mentioned as a case of success of its effort of seeking this coordinated actions. As you know, the ministry has again taken up its responsibilities in the management of water resources. Previous government, the ministry had no longer this responsibility, did not have this responsibility. It had been sent to other ministries, and that created conflicting agendas. When you add the water management resources to the planning ministry or other ministries, we have various different conflicts of interest. The return of this responsibility to the environment ministry, I consider as something, as an environmentalist who I've been for many years, I consider this an important victory, but also demands a task of reorganizing everything. We're going through a phase of restructuring of the governance. We have the collaboration of many of you who are here. We've met together with many of you here, either by video conference, to seek out the best solutions so that we can have an affirmative action. In light of this conference of the UN, this is a signaling. It's more actually than signaling. This is an initiative of ours of taking up again another important issue, which is international cooperation. Sustainability of water resources is a responsibility, and the protection of these sources is something that is not done individually. It also demands international cooperation. So it's very important that you are promoting this meeting and sharing your experience, and that you're part of this event together, that we're together with the environment ministry in this joint effort of disseminating Brazilian legislation, of having an adequate water management without conflicts of interests, because some of these conflicts of interests are becoming graver with the farmers, ranchers. So we're restructuring a decree of the Water Resources Council. The council was also affected by the anti-democratic vision, actually the anti-democratic action of the previous government that pretty much eliminated the councils, the tasks, all of the initiatives not foreseen in legislation, all the commissions, all of the debating uh, venues, and everything that the previous government was not capable or actually prevented from doing, uh, the things that the government was not able to eliminate because they were foreseen in legislation, what they did was reduce drastically the participation in their management. So the vision, which is a vision that is completely opposite of what should be the negotiating space where the government and the academia and the civil societies and national governments and state governments, that is a vital space. So we must, it is crucial that the public government must know in depth and obtain the recommendations. If we don't have this, it's impossible to manage an asset that belongs to all of us. It has a widespread interest. It also affects development, the potentials. It affects everyone. It affects not only the quality of life of humans, but also the quality of life of the environment itself. We do know that our demand as our obligation as managers is to have sustainability, and also water sustainability and environmental sustainability that is necessary to the maintenance of the water and the availability of the water to all. And it's interrelationship between conservation of nature, forests, our sceneries, and the quality of life. We learned since we're young that there is an important interrelationship, correlation here, and codependence between nature, water resources, and quality of life. Interdependence. What I'd like to mention in this opening remarks, thank you very much for the invitation of being here, is that we'd like to make this, what I'd like to make clear is this commitment of reactivating this Council of Water Resources, make sure that the Council is, in fact, an arena where we can discuss, participate in a democratic manner, involving all of the sectors that have important initiatives in this theme, and also a commitment to have sustainable management as a priority, of the environmental ministry. You've seen that in the restructuring of the ministry, or in the structure of the ministry, the Water Resources Directorate is associated to what us is a crucial, which is the rights of the traditional and indigenous peoples, this offer of quality water and basic sanitation. We do know that it has not been thought together with the indigenous people as important for them. So the sanitation initiatives are also not really involving the traditional peoples. We've been amiss in this responsibility. And here at the conference, we have been adamant of using the space here of sharing these problems and the need for cooperation, and not use this space only for the good things that Brazil does. We do have good examples. We have some very important initiatives in different cooperation fields, and sharing the water. We've had some accomplishments in sharing water resources in these rivers, the basin committees. We have the participation of many social entities. We have good examples. You do know that Brazil, together with Ghana and Singapore, are considered We are among the 3 top countries that have most advanced in preserving these resources. In this video conference, I do know that much needs to be done. I do know this because we've done good things. It inspires us. But what we need to do is, in terms of water management, preserving water is important, but we also need to assure sustainable management of, of the rivers that have been degraded as well. We have a difference in access to water rights. Different members, different citizens have different water rights. So we need to do much more. We cannot say that we're proud of what we've done only. We have much to do ahead of us. And do things such as what the PCJ consortium is doing, interesting initiatives to implement interesting initiatives in other regions. Finally, I'd like to mention something that we've repeatedly affirmed here at the UN Water Conference, and that is the urgent need of sharing this water issue to the climate convention, because the impacts of the climate event dramatically affect the management of water resources. It's a very complex issue. The difficulties are enormous, and they add on top of what we already face without considering these extreme climate events. And we also have a crucial aspect that we must face, which is could we just could we finalize? I'm just about done here. But the management of the water resources and climate, much of it is mentioned about the mitigation, which is very important. But we don't really talk often about the adaptation of which is necessary of the water resources. And management of water resources is central to this, to assure that these extreme events do not become unmanageable. So I'd like to finalize. I could speak for hours. Each one of us here could speak about this for hours. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Once again, the Environment Ministry is open to participation in any initiative. We are here. You do us the favor. It's not we serve you, and you do us a favor of helping us, both in Brazil. So we're here, and we're available. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And let's continue on with this conference with visions and ideas for international cooperation. Thank you for your comment and the participation. I'd like to thank the participation of the federal government through the Environment Ministry. And we'd like you to continue that event. And we'd like to invite you to a comment. I must apologize, but we have another commitment at the conference, so I will not be able to remain. I need to leave in about 5 minutes, but let's await the results of this event. And I'm sure Angela Lima or Francisco Lahoz will update us so that we can continue with our work. So again, I'd like to bide my farewell because I'm heading over to the UN. Thank you very much, Joel. So in the name of the Executive Secretary of the PCJ Consortium and of all of our invitees, we'd like to thank you for your presence here. Continuing on with our state event, I'd like to invite, with introduction, I'd like to invite Flavio Montiel of International River. Welcome, Flavio. Flavio. Flavio, I'd like to thank with invitation of the PCJ Consortium and thank the presence, our Executive Secretary of the Environment Ministry, João Paulo Capobianco. I'd like to thank all of you who are also present and members of organizations also present, the water governance, the climate governance observatory as well. And as has been adequately put, yesterday we had the World Water Day, and we must evaluate if this is only to commemorate, but we should also reflect and debate on our struggles and resistance. As we mentioned in various different cities yesterday here in Brazil, in various different territories, we've seen that water and its management must still be perfected, improved, despite all of the advances that the water legislation, the law number 433, has brought towards the governance and management of waters in Brazil. But today we are speaking about a global scenario where we still have 2 billion citizens without access to drinking water and over 4 billion individuals without access to adequate sewage resources. In Brazil, we do know of these numbers, 35 million citizens, Brazilian citizens do not have access to drinkable water, to drinking water, and over 100 million still need to have access to sanitation services. I'd also like to highlight that after 50 years, we now have this, we've had international debates for 50 years, but we did not have an adequate forum, an adequate space to have water become as critical and as important as the climate change conventions are, the climate convention. So now we see that this is a crucial need. Not only that this initiative may extend itself to other initiatives or values, such as foreseen in a proposal, an initiative proposal that the UN must develop, starting from this discussion here. I'd also like to highlight the issue of the shared management, the participative management, which is also democratic, the democratic management of water. This is a principle we must advocate for here at the conference. At the conference's agenda, there was no specific theme on governance and water management. So we brought here the initiative, which we call the Transformative Global Pact, which is an initiative done jointly with the Dutch Institute IHE and other 40 organizations where civil society where we propose so that we can, in order to advance in governance and water management, that it is necessary to have a global pact, and that this pact may include, among other qualities, its principles in the management and equitable and participative and democratic participation in the water treatment. That we must also mention, we must also include that gender. It's crucial, it's necessary that we have an increasing participation. It has been occurring, but we need to advance in the participation of women inside and have them included in water management. We have 243 basin committees throughout Brazil, but it's almost negligible the participation of the traditional communities, indigenous peoples, uh, and it is also necessary to advance in this sense, to rethink the composition of the councils, the way that the committees are organized today, so that we can provide greater quality democratic participation in the water management. So we are taking this document, which is this transformational water pact, to the conference coordination, to the directors of the conference, and we do hope that with this, we can be contributing towards the advance of the water management resources worldwide. Thank you. Thank you, Flavio, for your comments, your introductory comments. It's important to have the debate on this the transformative water pact, where the discussions have been held. Now I'd like to yield the word to, also as an introduction, to our friend Samuel Barreto from the Nature Conservancy. Good morning. And all of you, I'd like to also to congratulate Mario Borchon, the president of the consortium, João Paulo Capobianco, executive secretary of the environment ministry. I'd like to congratulate all of you. Thank you for the invitation to be here today and participating with you in this debate. Reminding you that, as mentioned yesterday, we had the World Water Day. Today, it's only the second conference sponsored by the UN. The last one was in 1967 or 77. So this is very important. We need, we're here in New York participating in this conference. Be a very strong society. The society is strongly participating in this conference, even with the difficulties involved. We can see the society is participating heavily in this conference, which is very important. I'd like to mention a couple of elements in order to add to what some colleagues already mentioned. These challenges that we're having. Yesterday, we had the launching of a water report by the UN, and it only confirms what the prognosis was had already indicated. We have a high water consumption. We've had it last century. We have it up until 2050. We should have an increase of almost 80% water consumption in places where we know water will not be available. Also, the access, more even than a crucial right, fundamental right, it's in the fundamental obligation, something that we must not dismiss. It's crucial for life. I'd also like to highlight, in addition to the theme that we live, we also have a biodiversity crisis. The loss of our habitats, species, and this has been affecting us, and has taken us to a very important aspect of lack of equality, of lack of climate justice. Millions of individuals do not have access. They don't have access to these resources. So it's crucial that we also include aspects we should reward that we must think. We must not consider only technology as a solution for all our ills. This is a false belief. It's not only engineering solutions that will be solving the water scarcity issues. We should think about this. We should also mention an aspect of an important aspect of the water security, and it's not yet mentioned, which is solution on nature. That is an issue. We do know that solutions based on nature, conservation, forest recovery, these can deliver up to 1/3 of the responses to mitigation, uh, and also and and also climate change. We must not dismiss these natural solutions. The solutions based on nature are a fundamental issue, and towards this, it is necessary to strengthen the mechanism of prevention, the cooperation of government. I'd also like to highlight that the consortium, the PCJ consortium, has had throughout these last 30 years. It's helped many people. It's educated so many individuals, myself as well, and helped me. And it actually it's actually older than the first water legislation in Brazil, which was in São Paulo. It's influenced all of the other legislation, brought the spirit, and it's brought solutions that I've been mentioning, solutions based on nature. The consortium has long-standing policy and has talked about this throughout its existence. It must inspire, we must have sharing of experiences so that the initiatives can gain in scale. So we can scale these initiatives. We also need to review our management instruments, the water classes. Yesterday, I was speaking to someone who was commenting that the Jundiaí River had been cited as a huge example, as an important example where we had an improvement in the water. It was a class 4 river and it's now a class 3 river. These mechanisms show how governance, how the practice involving the water, centralized groundwater, how it brings in the results we need. It's occurring, what's occurring today in this space in the Jundiaí area, where there's a maturity in governance among the different actors. There are still outstanding challenges, but at least some of these issues are already being worked on. Very valuable. In addition, again, speaking about the quality of the water, we discussed this. We had a dry spell in the state, and municipalities had problems, and we had decisions made and policies and governance that have to improve the quality of the water. We have to think about improving the water class, which we call the class 4. We don't have a death sentence for individuals, but we do for water. So we need to do something that has been discussed, a transition to an economy more permanent. We need to think about this transition mechanisms and eliminate in the future this water class within this legal instrument of our management. Lastly, I'd like to again agree with the importance of having governance and the effective participation of actors, indigenous peoples, the indigenous people that are also being affected, not only in Brazil, but also in other situations, and also to mention the illegal gold digging, for example. We need effective voices. We need to talk about equitable distribution, gender distribution, social distribution. Here in the water governance authority, on behalf of it, we are available. We put ourselves at the availability for all of you, so that we can talk about the challenges of the century 21, which was the impacts of climate changes. I'd like to mention also what's occurring in the African coast, the hurricane that has affected Mozambique, Madagascar. California has had a dry spell for years, and nowadays they're flooded. São Sebastião, São Paulo, Metropolis, we've had dry spells, either a dry spell or floods. So only with the effective efforts and the integration of the different actors of society, of the governments, of private initiative, only everyone working together can we really overcome these challenges. Again, I'd like to very much desire you a wonderful Thank you so much for working these issues. It's very important. Solutions based on nature. This is of critical importance. The access to water is important to climate change. We must discuss all of this and rethink our models, as Samuel has mentioned. Continuing then, I'd like to yield the word to Glauco Kimura from Inusco Brazil, who will have about 3 minutes to speak about this as well. Welcome. Glauco. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All of you. I'd like to thank you for your invite for the PCJ consortium to be here. It's wonderful again to get together again with some wonderful people. It's an enormous pleasure to be in conference. Unfortunately, I'm not in New York. I would have loved to be there. I am in Queens in a rainy season. We are close to reaching our water quotas. Maranhão and Piauí states are also suffering with rain. End of the third year of rains that have been much beyond what we've seen historically. Practice, some colleagues have mentioned, we need to adapt ourselves. We may need to maybe build barriers, there partners, but reservoirs, times of rain may cause problems. So we must not be dependent on one sole source. Why I do believe in centralizing the water reservoir system. Has been mentioned, but based on nature, the water basin is already pretty much a natural source that is adapted to events and flooding scene. In the name of UNESCO, I'd like to thank the participation of all of you. The attention to you that for UNESCO, it's a challenge to work with this theme. Yesterday, the UN water report was launched on the development of water resources, which is launched every year. Every year we have a different subject. This year, the subject was partnership and cooperation for water. As you mentioned already, without a cooperation and partnership, we will not be able to reach our goal. Delayed, despite the advances of what Paulo has mentioned, that globally we're way far behind. Either the 6.1, neither the 6.1 nor the 6.2 goals, water supply, and neither of these two goals, which are the minimum goals, did have access to. We don't have access to the minimum recognized as desired as necessary by the UN. Now, 7 years that remain to 2030, we must turn the table and reach our goals. This report, when it speaks about partnerships, it's a calling to a collective initiative to turn the table. We're losing in the first half. We need to, in the second half, overcome this. I'd like to encourage you that this conference is in your time milestone was announced the UN Assembly 2015 up until 2020. Notice that in the first 3 years, after the 2030 agenda was approved, we were not having the necessary advances for the OGS 6, which is why we extended. We're at the end of the first half, and we need to switch tables. So this report, like I said, that this report brings a lot of information, but it summarizes 5 main recommendations. refer to global acceleration. So the recommendations are to development and development, yeah, acceleration, development of capabilities. Our colleague Renata Maria is uh, representing this effort. She's here representing this effort for capturing the waters. Second one, having more information available. The gaps in the water basin information, obstacles to access information. So we must work open science. We have to. Third point is about innovation, sharing knowledge, working with incubators, increasingly working with incubators, companies, startups that bring innovation at costs that are well below or considerably reduced costs. We had a humanitarian crisis of no money in this country, and we saw how one startup was able to put into practice a technology for treating water that transforms non-drinking water into drinking water in cases such as of that one, of the humanitarian crisis, at very affordable cost. And the last two recommendations of the report are urgency. Financing is big, and the second one is the last one of the five is governance. We need to work all five of these recommendations for the following year. Lastly, UNESCO has, as part of the DNA, the cooperation. UNESCO promotes and works on these cooperation projects. So we're available to all the organizations here in our present, established cooperation projects, the same modules that we already have with the Water National Agency and the other agencies. This is very important for us to work in future challenges. And we have an intergovernmental water program over 50 years ago. And this program has been worked with a big network involving 169 national committees, 29 water centers that are independent, and 70 fellowships, water fellowships. We also have them in Brazil. So now I'd like to thank all of you. And I put UNESCO at your disposal for the following years in these partnerships. Thank you. Thank you for all. Yes, working these five goals, these five recommendations is incredibly important. As you mentioned, the climate is facing these extreme rains and this highlights the need of adapting ourselves, having our sites becoming more resilient so that we can overcome these restrictions. Continuing, I'd like again to thank for the contribution. Let's talk about let's now have the panels. The first panel is the challenges for Brazilian water management. Then have panel number 2, the World Civil Society for the Water Universal Access. And lastly, the network, strengthening the basin organisms for the cooperation and management of water. Starting panel 1, I mentioned that Rosa Formiga of the Brazilian State University would be the moderator. She was scheduled to be the moderator. She had an unforeseen event and she's monitoring us, but she is traveling without regular internet access. She just left us a this chat. Afterwards, we'll be again. I'd like to thank those. I'd like to announce Renata Maranhão, a participant of the Brazilian agency, Maria Ikemota, and sustainability. Speaking about challenges for Brazilian water management. yield the word then to Renata Maranhão. Oh, Mário Coutinho, executive, and João Paulo Picoqueta, also who's your moderator, and my colleague. I'd like to congratulate all of you. This is a show of strength of Brazil's strength in water management. We'll talk about the challenges, but even before we talk about the challenges, and you pointed to some of them, it's also important to mention what we have and what we can count on to have some participants from other countries as well. And as we do so, I'd like to show this drawing or a flow chart that shows about water resources and some of the corporate. And this is about the committee, the water management committees. Shows legislation. It's the Brazil's committee, instituted in 1970. It had river basin committees as an instance that would deal with together society, government, and users, and it brought everyone together to discuss the management of water resources. We talk about these different actors. An advantage that we must count on, but also in light of all the crises, at climate change and climate change as well that are becoming more unpredictable. It's also important to mention. Let's talk about the trade. We need to capture more water, pardon me, so that we can limit trees. We're talking about a lot of this is fought over. We must discuss this so we can ensure the multiple use of the water, multiple use of water for all actors. And in light of this capillary, hello? Sorry, the interpreter didn't hear part of this, but we must remove the interface between the environmental agent. Well, we have over 200 cities throughout Brazil that has been instituted in latter years after the approval of the legislation and also the approval of the national policy for management. Talking about some of the, I highlighted some of the challenges. First, strengthen the system. We have institutions that is what we count on to implement national policy of water management. Strengthen that. If we have strong public institutions, we have well-structured communities. This has us bring into the territory, bring also on board the indigenous peoples, issues based on nature. We have much to learn from indigenous people. Social and local solutions. We may not be able to deal. Solutions cannot be imposed top down. This must be involving all of the actors and local actors as well. They are the majority, even if we deal with them as if they were a minority, but they're not the majority. We should involve our nation. Conference is very focused on improving, on accelerating changes. Change individual, but also municipalities, states, the basins, and have mobilized society as a whole. Individuals, many of them are downcast because they don't believe in it any longer, but it must actually mobilize individuals to work towards this. I'm almost over, but in addition to strengthening the system, it's important also to have challenges to advance in new arrangements. Policy does mention basis that's important, but there's some locations. We also must also talk about sustainability. We must do this without using, without missing out on the different actors also being involved. Very important is collaboration, implementation, integration of water resources. Council, what will we be doing? How will we be doing? What will we be doing? We need an advanced instrument of this resources plan. Advanced, facilitate some of them and encourage their implementation, and also act towards integrating the different plans, many of them existing within the same territory. Brazil is a continent-sized country. Complex access and water availability is unequal. We have different arrangements, some of them overlapping, that sometimes harm. We need to integrate the committees, the plans, events. We have an integral, integrated viewpoint and working towards caring for water. Also have other challenges with the expansion improvement building. Building is a way of encouraging the financing, improving financing. This is must be encouraged. Also must improve our building. This is when it must also have classification of bodies of waters. We must have integrated monitoring. This is also in line with what UNESCO just mentioned. We need to have data more integrated so that we help decision making, help with the auditing, the challenge, such in Brazil, for example, country. This will affect the concessions and things. These are some of the challenges. We must count. Consider this as we move forward as a society. Where do we want to be as a nation? We must assure the multiple use of water. Demand for water has increased. Its supply is becoming compromised in terms of quality. We must, and also when we even more so when we include the climate change events. It can only work if we can only be successful if we have connection. Have the UN. Fact that the UN has had this World Water Day to look at water. This should remind us of the urgency of having waters and sanitation. We're completely interconnected. That they are good by all of us. Thank you. Your present. What is an important message about the need, challenges for lunch farmers. And you've dealt with the main topics, working with the changes. Talked about the sector. Well, you've mentioned you've talked about the national guidelines, water resources. You highlighted the importance of strengthening the management. talked about this. Talked about the basin distributions, requirements, investments, nation system. So it was all very important. I invite environment and sustainability. You'll provide a brief presentation of 5 minute. Thank you for the invite. Here, I'd also like you to acknowledge Renata Hotoviega about the subject of focusing on solutions based on nature for water security. Could you please? It's also important to highlight that water security for the public consumption, public supply involves strategies, territorial strategies geared towards the marshlands. When you have marshes, the supply of brute water, of untreated water, and how managing untreated water is crucial to ensuring the security at the this directly influences the quality and the quantity of water. These strategies are which we talk about the security of having untreated water and its importance towards the consumer. This is also an approach that is not an mutually exclusive one. This, together with other approaches, can help it's in an integrated fashion, not to this isolated, must sections that talk about nature are talking are geared towards conservation, and cultural, and sometimes the sanitation-based approach, drinking water approach, might not be seen same line. So we must integrate everything and have to consider water security, considering all. We're talking about solutions based on nature. We're talking about strategies to promote systems, also practices are about managing sustainable water resources, conservation practices, water for soil, practices, livestock practices. So also, it's also important to consider when we urban areas, also consider solutions based on urban nature, like green areas, parks, roadways. We must consider everything when we consider water security. Here are some more practical examples. Just importance of having goes with these themes. Important that first we have the center planning and management of these resources that we consider these subjects. Water resources, water plans, basin plans. It's important that they have their had increased enriched so they implement the state program for water security that considers also implementation actions. This theme is considered as part of environmental quality. So we consider this solution. The planning stage. Would you? Thank you. Sufficient in the basic committees and in the collegiate organs observes that an advanced and now the specific grouping working groups in the basic committees and in 2020 technical committee bill inaugurated in the State Council on Water Resources observed that the committees nowadays have resources and initiatives geared towards. So it's important to recognize this question, the collegiate organs. Also to mention a couple of important points, importance of regulating initiatives geared towards these subjects. Here we have some examples. Now we have a program that has been, it's called Act for Waters. The goal is to encourage initiatives with recovery and waters and projects geared for conservation, forest restoration, best practices. We also must have, for example, forest recovery action to make sure that they're being managed in light of and in light of protection these new sources of water. Use the resources that are available to us and exist now. This is interesting. Studies based. I'd like to highlight that we have a challenge in Brazil, which is it's themes. Sometimes we think about basins for capturing water. We have the basin, we have these concessions. Sometimes we don't have a frame for establishing the marshland areas, the natural resources which must signify have to eliminate areas so that we can have a contribution. This requires, we've had some problems. Now we established a 2-year working group for validate all of this information and all these areas delimited, registered. Is the spatial establishment these areas, conservation, marshlands, the waters, what ecosystem of the areas are, how to delimit these areas, document towards this. But after 2 years of this work, also create the funds for managing resources. Narrow state, we have 500 points, 500 just areas. We cannot do them all the time. We must prioritize strategy. The main issue is limitation or other issues that affect more these in light of issues. So not towards discussing where to. These are solutions that take time. Restoring and recovering an area takes time, but these projects start in the right direction. So it pay a lot. So it's important. The porters will see some spark the pace. How we can talk to this. This was important. This not talking too much on the general comment that I want to observe is that we've had a big advance in this subject. This comment is solutions based on nature and the basin committee, but so inspection projects are limited. Pilot projects, private projects that have not worked very well, so we must increase the scales and initiatives. State must reduce the force must consider projects as we're talking about. Since work with all these different factors, that's also very important when we consider process, bring mechanisms. Everyone benefits. Small real estate property owners, but also we need transaction costs that are reasonable as well. Diversify the mechanisms and the financing sources. We're able to scale up and measure the benefit. Training and strengthening of institutional there are also projects that are very important, involve soil conservation, firefighting, so it's very important. And also advances in legal basis. We have nature recognized and regulated water resources. Conservation must be regulated and this is it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your invite. This is my contact. I'm Philip. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Sharing the resources, projects that you're developing. This water program is very interesting that you mentioned. Very interested, wonderful. You mentioned that some excellent programs and others have also contributed to this function. Green infrastructure in the city is important. Should also think about soil, think about quite an interesting approach. Thank you. Certainly, your work. Yeah, you've about agencies, agency project. Wonderful, it's a wonderful experience. Our participants may want to go more in. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the participation of panel one, and because of our time constraint, I'd like to continue with our event. And on panel two, which will be civil society for universal water access. So now I'd like to give the word to Fátima Casarim from the Nosso Vale Nossa Vida panel. Welcome, Fátima. Morning, all of you. Thank you for the invite. I'd like to congratulate all of you. Thank you all here representing on behalf of the civil society. It's an important event. After 50 years, we again have talked about this urgent issue. Panel, very important panel, which is the role of civil society for universal water access. Justified, this panel is justified in its there are over 2 billion individuals who not have access to drinking water. Must understand exactly what this universal access to water is. Also, like to highlight that we, inside of our national system of water resources, we have a participation. The civil society is present, but we have a crisis right now because after a right-wing government that tried to destroy so much, we must recover and take up again this dialogue and its reconstruction. We must consider these indigenous goals. All of this, all of these impacts, the vulnerable population to these climate impacts. To reconsider this, we must rebuild this, looking at in a much more structured fashion, and increase structure, improve our structure much more than what is in the present government. We have a lot of contract and agreements, we have initiative. We have a lot of initiatives which have been, however, neglected and are neglected. Must again, highlight the importance. We must again take up on these programs, considering the importance of water to nature, and we also must talk about climate change. We must look for this. This panel has two wonderful individuals, Malu Ribeiro from SOS Atlântica. She's we've known her from this water governance board. I'm also part of this, and Neuza Cunha, who is she's representing the Apucaí Commission in Rio de Janeiro. She's an indigenous. She's a native. She's been fighting and struggling against the installation of nuclear power plants, this occupation, this deforestation. Very important. So, us listen both. Now I'd like to call up Malu Ribeiro. Is she around? Hi, Fatima. Hello, colleagues, colleagues from all of the water basins in Brazil. It's a pleasure to be here. Back from the UN. It's very emotional. After 50 years, again, after 50 years, I have another water conference. Partners from the Water Basins Board. Come up with this, they bring everyone together. We were not able to be here with us. Everything Fatima has participation of the civil society. Today we delivered a petition with the Secretary of the objectives to represent the government. Petition is to have Brazil's water basins be part of the strategic agenda. Have Brazil will be speaking at one of the plenary sessions. And taking up on its environmental agenda, its green, its blue agenda, and maybe with the government and the participation of the civil society. We have a regulatory framework, which is our water resource legislation, which permits the participation the inclusion. And this question now is the moment to show the world that we have again Brazil, again to the Declaration on Waters by the UN. It was You consider being a Brazil with biodiversity, size of Brazil, basins, water basins that cross borders and integrate different peoples. People from Argentina, from Uruguay, Argentina, South East, Chile, water agents. I think that is one of the equations, one of yesterday was part of this, how water could be an element of peace. Our country face which is in Ukraine, which is in Israel, Albania, Lebanon, and we conflict times connected to disrespect and ways arrogance, if you will. But we prioritizing avoidance instead of others. Prefer seen as crucial to water of energy and basins create problems for just I myself this population a part of the forest. I have a problem. I have a problem when I speak. My my native river is the river which has my where I have my connections, ancestral connections. It's my native river. It's believe that this is a sewage river. That sewage water generating energy as a covering cover included stored there. Seen pleasure to forest. We want those in Sao Paulo to look at the rivers and look at approach from SOS launches launching Mapa Atlântica to Malu, the morning noon launch. Here's or have a hard time. Audio is not very good. The idea. Look at the month. I'm sorry, the audio is tough. Once per year, in order to get all of this information, we generate a report that shows the quality of the water on volunteer groups. And the solution, the situation, current situation, it is disappointing. Regular water quality is critical. Twenty percent almost. 20% of this river water quality. water to improve the quality of our rivers. Improve the quality of our rivers, we take them through. We have some rivers, for example, the Pinedos River that has had qualities to farm. Had the 3 points had marble. So we must consider project that were inclusive. We must that we show that they provide so such data. We've had improvements in the river source, involvements with community, public powers, public work. It's in this work, and it is a joint effort. Oh, solve the problem alone. Solution of the rivers. So we must work together so that we can improve of our waters. So much. I'd like to thank Gustavo. I hope that you can hear us well. And Brazil joint dialogues reaffirming its commitment to the zero restoring the ecosystem and the water coverage. International politics and water resources again effectively, and that's something that have been changing the country. We hope some of these that are able to provide with 50% society involved, there's all genders, including all represented rich of water management and the other systems. For the big challenge, big task isn't committed. Thank you very much. This was message that. Thank you very much for allowing me to. Thank you, Malu. Challenge you have of creating bridges. And everything that you've mentioned here, we've been doing together. Very much like now to thank you very much. I'd like now to call Ilza to speak to us. It's much bigger for her. She suffers directly. So much different, much stronger impacts than ours. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. That's important for me. I am Neil. I am chief. This is there we work ourselves to protect our territories, public our people. We have 9 indigenous reservations for the people, for the people. lives. Concern of chief the increase of real estate speculation, doubling the lanes, uh, the loss of access to indigenous people is affecting the environment. As an example, the power plants and our sources dry up. Our people's ability to privatizing these waters. People are not considering the water. Great. Lowering the abundance of water. The waters have been drying up. Sources. The we have mineral exploration that are indigenous. It's serious because it's affecting as you can see, this population that asked for help. Had this for a long time. There've been something of this. This had it's understanding need important for the not for but also for the world. Must look at this. We have climate and heating up, the drying up of our lands. 90% of biodiversity is part of indigenous reservations. We don't talk about the environment, about the, we can talk about the environment, about lands, protecting the lands. This causes environmental impact, causes the inequalities in the land. Now we're threatened with death. We're facing our own very difficult. We are not prepared to face nature. The we're not prepared to survive without water. We're not prepared to survive without trees, without our land. It is necessary to live not that much, where the land is stored, where the trees are stored, where the waters are being exploited. That's those indigenous people. They don't have access to water. Just people here don't have access. Some months on that without drinking water. Occurring. Must is necessary that they go to our territories, look and audit the. They look at our that they make studies, they organize studies to find out what are the reasons behind the drying up of our resource springs. No, because of our ancestral mindset. My father teaches us since an early age that we must not change so that we not meddle with water because it dries up. You have the right place to be, right to shower, and this reflects knowledge that we have. And we're paying with our own life. So this it's the right that we pay with our own life. Being killed, women, children are being killed. My, my brother in 2018 was assassinated and nothing. The was when Brazil was invaded by the Europeans in the 1500s, they were raped, killed. In order to keep the other environments alive, the other biomes, Europe. Necessary to look at this. I ask you to be solid, to stand with us. Look at the other people. Look at the indigenous people of the state of Ontario. How this is occurring, that there's deforestation, who suffer from real estate speculation, building house inside our land, famous actresses, famous directors. They have a chalet, they have their own houses. They're worth millions inside indigenous lands. Causes impact. It's irregular. You must audit. Privatize. Privatize our calls. You cannot shower without bathing in calls. Violent. Deadly policies. We're suffering setbacks in our rights, fighting for long time, for over 500 years, and resisting. This because of our ancestral knowledge, our grandparents, with our teams, we can maintain life, our way of life, our dignity. We must have our lands protected and delimited. The world recognized indigenous people everywhere in the world that respect them, integrate them. We will not have because you cannot plant it in the land. So land will not provide. Plants in the cities will not provide you with breathing water, breathing air. Important for your problems. This is not an obligation. Of the world. Protect water and health. Of course, we must protect life. Stop building. This will not be sufficient. Nuclear power plant protecting our environment. Then we're being assassinated. Whether you listen to us. Come, visit, get to know us, study our lands. Look, study our lands. Look at what we face. It's not fair that an indigenous people may remain for over 15 days without one drop of water inside our homes. And the indigenous people in Rio de Janeiro are facing it. We need SOS. We need demarcation of our lands, limiting our lands. Stop with this killing, this assassination. They deserve respect. We're here to help you preserve our environment. We just want these big businessmen to stop thinking only about their own greed, money, destroying our country, our waters, destroying everything that's important that this is life. Talk about we need to be here. Uh, wash our feet in sacred water. So I'd really like to thank you all for the space. So I really thank all of you in Brazil. I really hope that you take kindly to our situation and help us very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Joseph, we thank you for your pleasure to have you here. For your participation in civil society, um, we do hope that everyone looks at you as an example, a long-standing example. We're all together in this. Must brutality visit this the way that must be the water is deserted. We must get the hold the bull by the horn and decide, do the make the decision that will bring positive by positive impact. And we must look caringly at the indigenous. Uh, we uh, we thank you profoundly. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to take advantage and accuse and make an accusation. There's the mayor of Paraty is racist. He is making hate speech. He is making hate speech, and we have no access to the municipality, not the road, nor the no nor access to health. Anyway, and the mayor here pieces of the time, and he asked to annul the process that was demarcating our land. This creates violence. His hate speech creates violence. I would like to charge him with this hate speech of this hate. Because of him, we had suffered attacks, threats inside our lands, invasions, and death threats where actually my son was killed. And today I have to be a part of the witness protection program in this, of the state of British Columbia because I am under constant threats, and I've already, my life has been attempted. They tried to kill me already. They're the politicians. Native Rio is not worried about us, and they must worry. They must comply with their obligation. Thank you. This point that the system look at the point that everyone be aware. It's not only of the human nature, of the human condition. Thank you. Thank you all. Word to thank you. To, uh, here, Pereira, and, Aluqueiro. Now continuing on, side event. That's good. The invitations for the corporation invite network of you moderating panel. Ask you to hold your 5 minute time. This is on one of the pillars of participation, management of water resources. No, I a share value initiative of, for water resources within the basins that they're organized. In this debate, we have two representatives of basin organizations in the world. These are two gentlemen that have individuals that have full involvement in the water management. One is the Bear and the other is Homeopathy. Gentlemen have a story, history when we're talking about water here. So I'd like to transfer the word to Jaime Boyer, national organization. Thank you. Perso. I'd like to thank CJ. Interpreter will stop for 5 minutes. We must, again, use governance. We must have an information system for water resources that are improve the water management to inform the public. In terms of planning, we have its private sector, uh, and just had a wonderful example of the indigenous people, the point of listening to the indigenous population. Also, integral planning, prepared participatory, realistic programs of actions articulated with the competent national and local authorities to have mobility. And finally, perhaps is even more important, the most important issue, and that is having financial funding or resources. I'll be ending the, I thank you for the 5-minute presentation. I'll just end with these two examples, with two wonderful examples. We have the French water agencies and the PCJ, Bacias and Agevap are examples of the sharing of experiences undertaken to improve both sides, both parties' management of water resources. So another example to finalize is the Maru project, which is a pilot project for content monitoring and evaluation, urban sanitation, which is to have a water. This is more technical focus. Thank you very much. I hope that you have a wonderful conference. Thank you. Hemi is a tireless partner in this international network. I had the honor of presiding over this international network from 2013 to 2016. I also had the honor of participating in projects in Latin America. So thank you very much for your words. Just like to highlight the mission aspect, the sharing of experiences. Sharing of experiences, that's what sharing of experiences. Practice that could be shared among different phases. This is a crucial. This is crucial for networks throughout our planet. Now, I'd like to invite my longtime friend, Mr. Roberto Olivares. He was, together with me, a governor of the World Water Council. He's also an honorary member. His experience, vast experience, not only in Mexico, but throughout all of Latin America. And he is our Latin American president of the basin organizations. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank very much PCJ. PCJ is at a vanguard, and it is so important and a reference regional level. I'd like to congratulate Francisco Laos, my friend, and PCJ secretary in New York as well, an important activist, and all of the. I desire all of the participants. I also send greetings from Mexico. I will quickly speak last one of the lectures. I'll be explaining the case of Mexico, the country that was distinguished, was known by a water organ, an excellent system, which was then suffering. In this slide, we can see the legal milestone, the participation, the social participation. This is in practice. This is a contrast. This is a simulation. of a system that we follow and that could be applied for better results. I am now presenting something that is very common regionally. Uh, not actually complying with what has been established as organisms. We should consult a society that should be part. The result is a simulation. Over here we have a simulation. This is something that is important to know because the result here is something that is not really recommendable, that is not good, nor not to abuse my time. I have two lessons. This is the official part here. We have two editions, and we have a part here which is establishing law. And here we're aware that we're part of a crisis, the actual situation, that we are in a serious risk. The yellow we can see here, governance. Part here corresponds where we seek out the water governance. These are basin councils. We need to, we must take into consideration also water resources in the basins. We can assure work having these water councils that will allow the water rights and the human rights and access to water. We're talking about the sustainability. We're talking about the future, and that which the indigenous representative here, people's representative just mentioned, to life. We ourselves will continue fighting for the organization of the basins. Thank you very much. Congratulations, all of you. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Roberto Livares. As man, he has been very productive in management of waters in Latin America. Mexico has big similarities with water management in Brazil. We've shared many experiences, talked about the recommendations that he just mentioned. Work really must be done inside a water basin and must be cooperative, and it must involve all of the water resources systems. Thank you, Flavio. Thank you very much. Alberto Olivares, thank him very much. Thank you, Alberto Olivares and Remy. And again, I'd like to congratulate all of you and my friends at Francisco. Very much for the panel, which discussed the network of basic organizations for the preparation and water management. We also mentioned some of this basin organizations, and we also, and Roberto Olivares who mentioned his experiences and advances in these initiatives, also achievements by Mexico. So now I'd like to continue, and towards the end of our study, I'd like to invite for considerations in our closing panel, and Mr. Francisco Lahoz and Angelo Lima, who's the Executive Secretary of OGA Brazil, and Francisco Lahoz, who's Executive Secretary of the PCJ Consortium. Hi. Thank you very much for your presence. I will quickly just mention the main topics. I will I will probably forget someone. Uh, Mario, president of the consortium, highlighted the cooperation between the actors that would assuring the sustainability. That would be the way forward. Angelo Lima will be speaking right now. He also highlighted how the water resources affects the economy and how governance and integration in the sectors and the multi-sector cooperation and observing indicators, how that can make a difference. João Paulo Capobianco highlighted the new work, the renewal of the work by the ministry, its work, and that it's how it's restructuring the government, looking at the integrated solutions and international cooperation in a multi-actor manner, and together, working together to again take up the work. Flávio Montiel highlighted the issue of sharing, reminding the conference that there's a participatory pact that is necessary so that we can advance in the management and the governance of water. Reto highlighted the need that we make changes. The technology issues by themselves will not resolve the sustainability issues. Glauco Moura spoke of the need for adaptation of the change of the structures in the system and working on solutions based on nature. That would be the way forward, solutions based on nature. Nata Maranhão had a history of work and recommend that we work in capturing water that allow the formation of waters and managing water sharing so that the conflicts are managed, conflicts between different people from different countries. Maria Ikemoto talked about the absence and difficulties in implementing basins in their ecosystem bases. Meaning, basically, Maria Kendo mentioned, we have the studies, but we need to put continuity to the work. Maria Casarin talked about the need and mentioned that society has been weakened and it must be again recovered and have the participation of originary people. Malu Ribeiro, in addition to so many other comments, she mentioned that we must have the water agenda be an instrument for peace and seeking of solutions and sustainability for all of the sectors. Ilse mentioned that you cannot talk about environmental preservation without the protecting and respecting the indigenous peoples and their resources. We cannot survive without the existence of nature. Was her comment. And the panel 3, yeah, Lupercio, who highlighted the importance of participatory centralized participation and strengthening of the institutions. Remy Boyer mentioned a challenge facing water shortages, recognize and have a management system, and the challenge is to share experiences and best practices for the solutions based on nature. Thank you. Olivares mentioned the difficulty in implementation of the existing legislation, highlighting that there's a difference between the official reports, water resources, and what is actually in practice. The official reports are always too optimistic, and in practice, we have difficulties in implementing them in an integrated manner. It also provides water resources. Murilo gave me only 3 minutes, so I would say keywords are sustainability, respect to the to the indigenous peoples, and sharing of experiences. Uh, respect how the respect to the existing systems. It must be improved upon, but not forgotten. Angelo Lima, final words, Angelo Lima. Add to what I just commented, which was a very quick flight. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. I thank Francisco for having summarized this. The name of the water uh, Observance Conference. I congratulate all of you, the consortium. We had a wonderful, we had many different people uh, suggesting solutions, many people commenting on the way the governance must be done. We had the different languages, if you will, but the different emotions, the different comments that must touch our heart and lead us to and lead the world societies to protect our indigenous peoples everywhere. As I like to mention, we don't have a planet B. We have to take care of of our own native planet, of our waters, our land. I like to highlight also, as Fabio mentioned, we don't have governance, a specific theme, but it does seem like as if all of these challenges that we've mentioned, if we don't speak about the governance, we will create difficulties. We will have difficulties in having answers to these challenges. So to think about what governance is, this while thinking about what governance is, I brought this. It was as if governance would be an analogy. For example, if we're going to operate on someone, we must have the pre-operating operation exams in the doctor's office. We have to look at everything before we can actually take a person to the operating table. Governance is this: it prepares for the operation of the management. If we are not prepared to do the pre-flight checks, if you will, we won't fly. If we don't have governance in order to do the management, we'll have many challenges in the management. It's important for all of us to work towards strengthening governance so that we can have answers. This mistaken discussion, the size of the states, if you will, how small or how big it must be. That's not the right way to approach it. If you defend a state, a minimum state, the state will not have an initiative and will not have the authority to handle the need. And whoever will, and those who will suffer, don't have a strong state in order to have an organized society, and also and the vulnerable population will suffer if there's a public policy that is minimal, if you will. Water management policy must be integrated with the use of the soil and of the land. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Congratulations, all of us. This message is very important. so that so that we can have hearts and minds focused, and at the same time be believing that we will have actually we must not only be too simple-minded, but we must know that we must touch the hearts of people. Throughout our history, of these over 240 basin committees, a good part of Brazilian society, other states and countries, a good part of Brazilian society does not know about this decentralized and participatory system. We must connect, we must bridge, not only to ourselves, but to society, but we must bridge this information to society at large and have this society and touch upon people's hearts. Again, thank you very much. If you're in New York, thank you very much. Just provide us if you're in New York, let us know about about what happens. But we're very well represented. I'm sure we are. So thank you and congratulations to all of you, to all of us. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for your conclusions. Reminding all of you that the material and the links are available on the YouTube platform, and information and the latest updates of the UN conference will also be available at our agua.org.br site. They will all be there. Thank you.